Welcome back to the ABCs of environmental law. And today, C stands for Cooperative Federalism, which sounds kind of musty and maybe even ancient, but it actually is alive and well and affects you probably daily. So let's talk about what it is. Simply put, cooperative federalism is a system where the federal government and the states will work together to implement and enforce laws. So, for example, Congress might pass a federal law like the Clean Water Act or the Clean Air Act, and it'll establish national standards and regulations, and it will provide oversight of these laws as well as have the ability to enforce them. And if a state meets certain requirements, the EPA can authorize the state to run this federal program. So even though it's a federal law, it might be a state that implements and enforces it. And the federal government in those circumstances does have the ability to veto something the state has done, or it can overrule an agency if the state isn't performing consistent with federal requirements. And California is a good example of this. So there are permits that businesses hold, there are regulations that the state implements where people think this is coming out of the federal government or EPA, but it may come out of the State Water Resources Control Board or the Department of Toxic Substances Control. Those agencies may be implementing federal programs under authority delegated by the EPA, often alongside state laws that are even more protective than the federal minimum. And there are some advantages to this system. States can tailor their programs to local environmental conditions and respond more quickly to issues affecting their communities than you could from DC or some regional office. But cooperative federalism also has its challenges. A business that operates in multiple states may have to navigate entirely different regulatory requirements, and there can be disagreements between federal and state agencies over how environmental laws should be interpreted or enforced. And there are definitely times where the agencies clash over whose wishes should control. Regardless of who's in charge of the federal government, some states will be on the other side of the cooperation part. California might lead the charge, but sometimes it pushes back. And that's why I tell clients that even when you have a more conservative swing in federal requirements, it doesn't always help if you're also in California. So the bottom line here is that the concept of a cooperative federalism is another reason why environmental regulation can seem so complex, because it's just not a matter of, is it a federal law or is it a state law? Sometimes it's both, and sometimes they may conflict. And today, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.